Hey guys, Everett here, photographer, filmmaker. I'm starting a new channel called Feeling the Void. Today I'm going to do a video about how to do a black and white self-portrait. Can I use any of those takes? Let's get started. What photo lights I'm utilizing are the Flashpoint 600 Pro TTL. On the key light, or the main light, what I'm going to use as a modifier is the Elinchrom 27-inch deep octabox. It shows beautiful light. It shows so much dimension with it because light travels through that deeper octabox. And then on the fill side, what I'm going to use as a modifier on that light is the Photek Softlighter 2. It's a 46-inch. Basically what I want to do with that is bring up the shadows. I could just not use that at all and just have one light. It'll just be much more dramatic. It'll be more harsh. The shadows will be darker, which is also a super cool look. But today's video, I definitely want to use both. Okay. I don't know how much you can actually see me anymore, but I've set up the photo lights. So I'll take the camera and kind of show you what those look like. And then from there, we'll start doing some self-portraits and I'll kind of tell you how to dial things in. All right, everybody, here we are. It is day 64 of filming this. Just kidding, it's day 2. I'm gonna start doing the self-portrait standing up, and then we'll move into like a sit-down position as well, but I already have the lights set up. Let me show you how they're positioned here. This is the key light off to my left side if I'm facing camera here. Again, this is your main light, like a foot above me and pointed down at a 45-degree angle. Fill light is gonna be back here, behind me and to the right if I'm facing camera, about a foot above me, pointed down at a 45-degree angle, and that is giving that little kiss of light on the right side of my face, separating me from the background a little bit. It's basically lifting the shadows is the main purpose of a fill light. For the portraits that we're gonna be shooting today, I'm using a black backdrop. I chose black today just because it's simple and the focus tends to just be on the lighting and on your face. Today I'm shooting on a Leica SL2 and I'm shooting with the Leica Vario Elmarite 2.8 24 to 70 millimeter lens.
I might do a review about this camera in another video.
In terms of the focal length I'll be shooting at, it'll probably be around 35 millimeter to 50 millimeter. Next, you're gonna wanna set up your tripod. Whether you're standing or sitting, you're gonna want the camera at eye level. You know, you can go a little bit above or a little bit down, depending on your needs. And then before you start shooting, set your camera to RAW. You can do RAW plus JPEG, but that's just gonna take up more space. I recommend always shooting in RAW. That way you can manipulate the photo as much as you want to in post and preserve all those details. And in camera, my settings are, I'm at f4 aperture. I usually like to be in that space. When you're shooting just a single person, I don't like to go more than an aperture of 6.3. I don't like it too sharp. You're able to like focus on the subject's eyes more and have a little bit of separation. ISO 50, you can mess around with that and have it be a higher ISO. The reason being, if you wanted to have like an 800 ISO, sometimes that's nice because my camera, even though it's a digital camera, the higher ISO, it has a pretty grain look. It looks like film grain and it's just beautiful. Some cameras don't have that. And then 1/125th shutter speed, you can kind of play around with that, but honestly when you're shooting studio lighting, especially if you're just doing something simple, I would just keep your shutter speed at 1/125th. For my key light, it's at 1/32nd, and for my fill light, it's at 1/64th. You always want just a little more power with your key lights. So anyway, we're gonna test the light again, but a good way to get focus is to have a partner, a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend stand here so you can get focus. And then from there, you can just do your own pictures like that. That looks pretty good. I like that. That looks pretty nice. But really, like, the goal here is just have fun with it, play around, make yourself feel comfortable, be goofy. Let's do another one. I like that. And now I'm gonna set it to interval shooting, and then we're just gonna keep shooting for a little bit. Hold space for yourself to have fun with it. It's like I used to be someone who would get way too in my head about these things and be hypercritical of the way I look, but ultimately, like, love yourself, man, love yourself. Have fun with it, explore some different movements. I'm just gonna do more serious stuff at first. Excuse me. Hold on, everyone. We gotta pause for a second here because I got my Wit-O hound dog in here. Can you sit down? Can you sit? I can kind of scroll through some of the photos I got here, show you what we're working with. Yeah, as you can see, that little triangle underneath my right eye is kind of what we were going for. You see the kiss of light on that side. Obviously, this isn't black and white yet. I don't really ever like shooting black and white in camera. I like to do black and white in post. That's a little more side lighting just based on how I was turning my head, which is also a cool look. That is what we're gonna go with for now. I think we got some good stuff, but again, I'm gonna move the lights down and do a sitting position next. You're basically wanting it still about a foot above you. I would say like right there we can start with and see how that looks. Bring it down about the same. You're gonna wanna look at like where you'll be sitting roughly and how tall you are. Again, about a foot above. Keep it at the same settings on the lights. I'm gonna bring the tripod down now. And we're gonna go back to just single shooting on a self timer to see how the light looks. It actually looks pretty good. I need to bring it down a little bit. I brought this down, the key light, a little bit more to get more eye light. The eye light is, I'll show you in photos and post, but basically it's the light that shows up in your eyes. That's why it's called an eye light. And it just makes the photo that much more dynamic and the person that much brighter and interesting. Not that people aren't interesting or I'm not interesting, but it just brings more dynamism or dynamite to the portraiture. Let's see if that fixed the eye lights. Yeah, you can see how I work to get that eye light in my eye by just like positioning myself differently. I dig that. Cool look. Okay, so it is day 384 on shooting this video. Just kidding, it's day 3. I wanted to do one more, not just for an outfit change, but also just to get better highlights. The reason that it is day 3 is it's just the way she goes. When you work a full-time job and it's also winter, so it gets dark super early and you're not super motivated to work at night. We're gonna play around with some side lighting. If it happens to get a little triangle on this side of my face, great, but side lighting also works. Let's do it. Having a little head tilt always adds dimension to your face, and also chin up sometimes, especially if you're a male. Every male wants a good jawline. That's the one right there. Here, I'll show you. This is like one of my most favorite photos I've ever taken of myself. Can I show you real quick?
Are you being serious?
Do you like it?
I think that's definitely your winner.
Okay, so this is it for day 3. Got some good stuff today. Now we're gonna go through, check out the photos that we just shot over the last 3 days. I'm gonna do you all a favor and choose the favorite ones first. Here's definitely one of the favorites. We can see what it looks like without, kind of run through what I did. So I use a preset that I personally created called Iconic. I'll leave this in a link or some way to download in the description. Let's scroll through to one of my other favorites that I shot. Love this photo. You got good highlights here. Here's the final product. Here it is with the Iconic preset. I'll choose that and then I'll just go through and dial it in. Usually set it to auto. Your camera knows what's best. Not always with color, admittedly, in Lightroom, but with black and white, I usually go with auto. Choose your exposure, contrast, highlights I bring up, shadows, bring those down a little bit. Shadows look good on this side of my face. It's not too dark. Whites, keep them up a little bit. And then blacks, I have them down a little bit more. I don't like having blacks too far up because it gives it too much of a faded look. Clarity and texture, I pull back just a bit, making myself look a little bit younger, a little more appealing, a little more sex appeal. And then dehaze, I bring that up a little bit. I like to play with that over contrast to get some of those darker shadows. Go down, tone curve, played with the light a little bit, played with dark a little bit, played with shadows a little bit. I didn't play with the highlights too much here in the tone curve, brought up the darks to make it not as harsh, and then brought down the lights because I already played with the highlights up here and the whites as well. Black and white mix, this is just like a nice area that I've set with this preset. You can play around with this if you want. I love where it's at. Go down a little bit more. Sharpening, sometimes I bring this up to 90, sometimes 75. It really depends on what you're going for, but here I just have it at 40. I didn't play with the vignette at all. The black backdrop, it already brings a little bit of a vignette to me. And then grain, this is Probably a pretty standard 35 millimeter grain that I have here. You can see that it adds a little bit. I'll take it off there. I'll put it back on. I always like to add a little bit of character to it in post. It always depends on how much ISO you got pumping into your camera. And then for calibration, these settings are definitely a lot more affected when you're messing with color. I feel you can see the difference more so, but you can definitely tell as I'm sliding this back and forth what's changing in the image. I'll go to red primary, show the same thing. The red is gonna affect my skin tones more in this image. As you can see there, green primary, doesn't affect it as much, but you can still tell. And then blue primary, same thing. You can tell a little bit. Final settings here were ISO 100. I have a zoom lens connected, so I landed around 48 millimeter. F4, 1/125th shutter speed. It looks awesome. Love it. Do I have any other favorites that I shot? I love the highlights in this one. Super crisp, super clear. Here's some of the ones that I did standing up the other day. One of my favorite bands, Drug Church. I'm a punk at heart. Great highlights. I would say my favorites are this first one I showed you here. Unfortunately, I'm wearing a tank top, so I can't really use that in like a professional photo, but I love it. And then I love this photo as well. This is probably the one I'm gonna use the most. You know, once you're happy with the look, it's time to export. Choose your file format and size. For social, I typically set it a long edge, 10 inches and resolution 240. I know a lot of people like do a resolution of 72, but I hate losing details. I've had a lot of success just keeping it at 10 inches and resolution of 240 when I do reels, when I do posts. If you want to play it even more safe, definitely like 72. Resolution is also pretty standard. Looks awesome. Loved how it turned out. Is that it? Is that everything? Hello? 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 Please like my stuff. Please. Please like. Please subscribe. Please love me. Let's keep this train moving. Until next time. Peace. 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 There's gonna be 10 takes. There's gonna be 15 takes. There's gonna be 20 takes.